Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Today, we have the delightful Mandy Wright, a Trichology titan and the mastermind behind Hair Oh Yeah in Bellevue, Washington. With a passion for helping folks reclaim their confidence in luscious locks, Mandy blends customer care with cutting-edge tech. So get ready to dive into the heartfelt journey of a true hair heroine. Mandy, welcome to the show.
What a lovely introduction. Thank you, Tom. Good morning.
Good morning to you as well. I know you're up very early today, so I appreciate you being here. And I'm excited to talk to you about this topic because it's dear to my heart because I don't have hair. I could have used you like 20 years or 30 years ago now. I'm excited to dive into today. But of course, the first question I always like to ask is, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
For me, a heart-led business is something that's so congruent with who you are and your values and how you portray yourself to the world that it's almost seamless for you. It's comfortable. It's an extension of yourself, so to speak. And when you're acting from your heart, you can passionately drive your business and feel that you're not losing when you put in more than a 12-hour day because it just is what you want to be doing. I think that's the difference, is that it's fulfilling for both your patients or whatever business you're in, but also it creates a circle back to you and fulfills you too.
That's nice. I like the part where you talk about the comfortableness, that it's an extension of yourself and it feels lighter. And I'm putting words in your mouth. It's not as heavy and like you're walking through mud. I've been there before. And this is the heart-led business just feels lighter and easier to accomplish things. So thank you for that definition. That's great. So tell us a little bit about your journey into becoming a heart-led business.
I've had a many varied background. I've done a number of different jobs because I've traveled from one country to another. And as a woman, you have children and your availability changes and you go to a new country and what you did before, there isn't a need for. And I think that's what happened when we ended up in Seattle. It was time to reinvent myself yet again. And I started working in the aesthetic industry here. And it was during COVID that we suddenly realized how many people were battling with hair loss, more so than before, owing to the coronavirus, owing to obviously a buildup in different stresses. And it also was a time when everybody was on camera. So suddenly you want to do the best. You had more disposable income in your pocket. So many people were coming in for obviously Botox, fillers, things to look good. And there was very little that was really working for hair loss. Suddenly there was a new technology out and I myself had a little bit of a journey. I can tell you a story about that. I was recently divorced and I'd always wanted long hair, but my hair is a bit like cotton candy. There's not much of it. It didn't really ever grow. So I put extensions on, which put extensions onto cotton candy hair and it breaks off. I ended up looking a little strange after that experience. And I suppose that was another driver that I wanted to have better looking hair. And I would prefer to have done it naturally. And there was a gap. There was a huge gap in between what was being provided and even our hairstylists were not able to provide solutions. So there was this, okay, do I go to a dermatologist? What do I do? How do I fix this? And what's available? So that kind of I think I naturally am an empathetic person, and I like to help and I like to feel like I'm contributing. So it was also a win for me. I need that kind of feedback from a job where at some point I get, okay, this is my sense of satisfaction. This is my job satisfaction. When I get you hair and your hair grows, that makes me feel good.
Yeah. You transitioned from the aesthetics into trichology, which is the fixing of hair. The-
Yeah, at that time, I didn't know the word trichology at all. And I naively thought if I had a device, that would be sufficient, and that was not sufficient. I had to re-educate and become a trichologist to understand more about what causes hair loss, how to identify it, how to treat it, because the treatment in itself is just part of the solution.
Yeah, I can imagine that obviously stress, environmental factors, all of that goes into, and hereditary. I think that's my
Yeah,
thing. It all goes into why we lose hair or hormones as well as
yeah.
especially for men.
It's
Yeah.
so varied, and it can be one thing, but it most often is more than one thing. It could be an insufficient diet, it could be dramatic weight loss from a new weight loss regime or a GLP-1 drug. It could be postpartum. It's so varied. And then you get the difficult alopecias as well, where people have autoimmune conditions and how some of those are treatable and some of them need steroids, and how the scalp is treated. You have certain cultures that like to use oil on their hair,
Mm.
and it can be fantastic, but it can also exacerbate certain conditions. So it's sometimes you're dealing with a cultural norm and saying, okay, that is not causing a problem for you. We need to take you in a different direction. And
Yeah.
it's a huge combination. And I think a lot of patients don't understand that until they start the journey, that as much as I do, they have to partner with me,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of work that needs to go on their side, obviously, to get a result.
Yeah, for sure. And you were starting from aesthetics to trichology and helping people with their hair. Was that a brand new business for you, or did you just add that into the aesthetic business?
Yeah. So essentially, at that point, I was working as an office manager for an esthetician who'd taken over a practice, and we built her business, and it was time for me to then branch out. And
Sure.
yeah, essentially bought this huge device. It was okay, you're going to invest in yourself now. Instead of building other people's businesses, it's time for you. So it was, yeah, the Harrier was born from that. We built the business around the device, around the offering, and we're one of the few businesses who just do hair loss. We don't offer a plethora of different aesthetic services, and that makes us unique.
Exactly. And there's something to be said about the simplicity. And I just saw an article today that was talking about Chipotle, of all places.
Mm.
They have four things on the menu. It's the same ingredients for all four things. And it's just so simple. And they're able to do a lot more in less time, or they're creating more burritos or food items in an hour than a normal restaurant would, or another fast or quick food restaurant. Have you found that having just the one offering or one service has helped you in the business?
Yes, I do think so, because yes and no. It's a double-edged sword, because I agree with you. I lived in Dubai and we had Starbucks in Dubai, and it had a limited menu and it worked seamlessly. I get my order, no
Yeah.
problem. I got to the home of Starbucks, Seattle, and
Yeah.
I waited forever to get my coffee because they had so many fancy options on the menu that it was hugely frustrating for me. I actually stopped buying Starbucks. I just couldn't understand the difference in service levels.
Really?
And yes, so I think personally, coming from a retail background as well, it's keep it simple, stupid. Do
Yeah.
something and do it well. And from that perspective, yes, I like to build things around my offering. So like now I have products that support I have nutritional, nutraceuticals, but they all
Mm.
support that key offering so that when somebody comes through the door, they might not l- be an ideal patient for my key offering, which is ultrasound, but I can still help them. I can offer different elements, and whether they buy for me or not, there's obviously no coercion, but that's an additional revenue stream for me, because I think that's maybe the downfall of having such a niche offering is that I don't have the opportunity to cross patients onto other treatments, other modalities, so that I'm continually buying new patients, if you can call it that. I
Sure.
continually need to get fresh water, and that's expensive. Whereas
Yeah.
in a normal practice, you would maybe bring somebody in for microneedling, and then you'd move them onto laser, and then you'd sell them products, and then you do some Botox. So your patient stays within your fold.
Yeah. A lot to be said about not going wide, but going deep with that
Yes,
offering. And
yes,
I'm sure there's some things that you could add in that have continuity to them. Probably the nutraceuticals would be one of the things that
yes,
you could keep people on for a while. How does the heart come into your business? You're working on people's head, right?
yes,
So
yes.
how do we connect to their heart?
Even you take anybody losing hair drastically, where it's
Yeah.
shedding all over, it's traumatic. Somebody post cancer and looking in the mirror and not recognizing the new hair that's growing and how they look. I have young people completely bald from things like alopecia areata,
Yeah.
and it's almost learning to live differently. So yes, people come in and they're very vulnerable. Sharing their story can be very difficult. They're often tears. And in a sense, there's got to be a lot of trust, because hair doesn't grow. It's not like I inject Botox and you walk out and go, oh.
Yeah. Right.
Our results, it's not instantaneous. It takes time. We have to heal the follicles, and then slowly they begin to grow. And then you've got these fine baby hairs, and then they thicken up. And if you haven't cured that underlying problem, maybe they fall out again. So
Mm.
it's a journey. And that's when we talk about continuity in the business. Yes, we often need longer periods of time to support them through it. But in the meantime, they're giving me money. So there's a
Right.
huge trust thing going on. There needs to be this partnering where they trust me that what I'm going to do is actually going to deliver some kind of result, well, money. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm going, okay, this is what it is. And I need to trust that at home, you're going to, whatever it is, you're going to be brushing, you're going to be using these products to support your journey, you're going to follow an anti-inflammatory diet, whatever it happens to be that's required. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And then you get these reviews online. You've probably noticed Instagram is flooded with hair products. And
Yeah.
one person will say, oh, loved it. And the other person will say, oh, no, it didn't work at all. That's the challenge. It's one solution doesn't fit all. I need to work out what's going to work for you. And you've got to
Yeah.
trust me. And
I-
it might not be. I mean, we might need to tweak it along the way. So Heartlet is, me investing my energy, you trusting me and putting your side of the work in.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you establish that trust? What are some mechanisms that you use to establish trust?
I've recently read your book. Thank you for sending that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And I agree with a lot of what you say, because my consultations start with understanding. I have to
Yeah.
listen. Everybody's journey is different. And as people speak, the clues come out. The way
Mm.
the hair fall comes out, what has happened in their life. They maybe had an operation, or they lost their job, or their triggers to hair loss, lots of things. They put a chemical on their scalp. It comes out, and I need to give them time. And I think that is a huge differential. When they're going to a dermatologist has to see so many patients in a day. So the
Yeah.
dermatologist, I continually get the comment, they didn't even look at my scalp. It was a
Yeah.
maybe 10, 15-minute consult, and the only tool that a dermatologist really often has is a prescription pad. So you end up with one of the prescription drugs. Yeah. And it's
Yep.
not always a fit. And if it is a fit, there are a lot of side effects to those. So my consults in general are an hour long. And
Okay. Okay.
it takes time. It takes time to work through the questions, to understand what the patient wants.
Yeah.
There's always a conversation. I also do analysis on the scalp where we take photos and I look at it microscopically, but also it gives us a starting point, and we track the progress with AIs because hair grows slowly. So it's how many more hairs did you get? How much thicker did it get? We need it to be quantifiable. We need to, and if it doesn't happen, to go, okay, so we need to address that.
That's
But
good.
it's a process. And sometimes I do have to turn around and say, I can't help you. So
Yeah.
it's with alopecia, I can confirm that this I cannot treat in. I can maybe get you here, but I can't stop you from losing it. You'll need to look at this and that. And also it's understanding the pain points. It's how much do you want to throw at this? How much of your time? How much of your spend? You're 20, you're already presenting with this. You're going to fight this the next 20 years, if not. So would you rather go bald? There's always that talk. Can you embrace it? I can't make that decision for a patient. That's for them to decide.
Yeah. So how do you set expectations then with patients when they first come into, because it is such a long process to regrow?
It's difficult. We live in a world of instant gratification.
Exactly.
And Turkey offers hair transplants. So and I think it's part of what I need to explain is the quick solutions like your minoxidil, your hair transplants. This is what happens. And it's short-lived. Yes, it works. Then you plateau. Or you transplant the hair and you still need to support those transplants or deal with the underlying problem. Otherwise, they'll fall out too. And you'll need to repeat, and then you won't have as many hairs to harvest. I often have to talk through that. And even then, there's still this, I still will have a lot of people coming in and going, I don't see much difference. And that's where the photos come in. Because, yes, in those first few months when I see them, we're just waking everything up.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of hair is not easy because it takes time and it can go backwards if it's not looked after. So
Exactly. I imagine it's very similar to weight loss for some people as well, because if you're constantly looking at yourself in the mirror, you don't see the subtle changes that happen.
Yeah.
Same with the hair. You wake up one day and it's all gone, which of course it doesn't happen that way. Or it grows super long. It's like, how'd that happen? But it doesn't, it takes time. And I think it's brilliant that you do the photos. And then you said you use AI to enhance or to give a measurement?
Well,
how's that work?
the AI interprets the data. So we have something called a grow track camera, and it will count the follicles and measure the density and the thickness. So it can then compare it against, we normally use photos against the back of your head because that's where it's normally, in most cases, closest to how it was before. Because obviously I don't see my patients before, so I need some kind of measure. So initially it compares with that. As we're getting more and more data into the system, we'd be able to say, okay, as a 25-year-old Caucasian male, this is your norm. And compared to the norm, you are losing, maybe you've lost 50% of hair. But this is a tricky one for me because I have more maybe of a European type of hair versus you take somebody with a Spanish background. We're also mixed. We're not clear races anymore. We've all got a little bit of something. We have different genetic makeups, and some people can have very thick hair. So when you lose 100 hairs a day and I lose 100 hairs a day, it looks completely different. So those kind of little tick boxes go out the window. And I think that, again, goes back to the consultation. Some people stop brushing their hair because it's just too traumatic. Too much falls out. But yes, that AI tracking helps me compare you with you. Yeah. Are we making progress? Percentage-wise, how much more are you getting? Yeah.
Mm.
It's important. And yes, I think for
Yeah.
patients, it's invaluable. I do also ask them to ask their hairstylists to keep an eye.
Ah,
Tell them you're
that's
doing this and let them give you their objective opinion as to whether it's working or not, because they're working close on your scalp. They often, a hairstylist is a very trusted person. You go on a
yes.
regular, you share a lot of your life. They know all your children, all your divorces, your
Right.
whatever's going on is shared. Another one is I ask them to ask children if they have young children in their lives, because
Oh,
children are honest, and they will go,
yeah.
"You're wasting
Yeah.
your money. This is not happening." So somebody's having a laugh, or "You're looking well. You're looking better. It's thickening
Yeah.
up." Mm.
That's brilliant too, to involve the people in their lives as well. That's really smart. Yeah. Very cool. Shifting gears just a little bit, how do you balance making a profit
Mm.
and still being heart-led?
It's difficult
Mhm.
because I think there's often a time where you go, if we just add this, it'll be
Yeah.
better. So if you just add it in and it costs me, patients often, they don't they don't see that perceived extra value or the extra treatment or whatever it is that you're doing, but it takes out of the profit of the business.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, again, that I don't think patients realize how expensive it is to procure them in the first place. I'm up
Mhm.
against huge chains, and they're spreading that marketing across a number of franchises. For
Yeah.
me, it's my website, it's my marketing, it's me, it's my time, my money. So the leads can be very expensive to begin with. And then if you offer something like financing, cuts
Ah,
the patient doesn't feel that pain, but yeah, the providers feel the pain of the financing. So there are all these little things that under the surface, I think for me as well, the cost of insurance,
mm,
medical
mm,
insurance, our practice insurance, very high. Warranty costs on the machinery, very high. It's There are a lot of things that are not conducive to small businesses in the US right now. To if you're banging your head, a lot of my colleagues have shut down this year. It's just no longer viable to keep the businesses open. Yeah,
oh, that's too bad. Ah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, everything has to be aligned just right. And the small businesses that I talk to on this show, the leading kind of message is, yeah, it's great to be heart-led. It is more difficult. It takes a little bit more time, but the
Mhm.
rewards are so much better down the road because it's a lighter business. It feels more natural. And you're just having fun and you're making money at the same time when it all works
Yeah.
out. It's like pushing a boulder up the hill. You're waiting for it to get across the hill so it comes back down.
Yeah, you drown yourself in your patience because that's where the pleasure is at. But
Exactly.
you still have to do the back end, and and I
Yeah.
like business. I actually like the business side of it, but it's just there's so many scams and so many modalities at the moment.
Yeah.
Which one's real? Which is going to deliver?
Yeah. There's a lot to be said in terms of how to incorporate your marketing to hit that type of consumer behavior because if it's on B2B, it's definitely B2C as well. Showing the proof and doing everything that you're doing, getting referrals from other
Yeah,
medical providers. Mandy,
it's
this
like
has been very stimulating conversation around hair. How can people learn more about your business?
more on the social platforms, but I'd encourage them to look at the website, heroyear.com. Everything is explained on there. They can book an initial trichology appointment. Our initial consult is free. And we do use a new modality. It's called Almated, and it's an ultrasound device instead of needles. So a lot of people have not heard about this, although it's offered worldwide. But it's also, if you're in another city, you could learn more about it and find out where that is offered in your country or your city too. I think it's important to understand that there are people like me out there, trichologists. So there's probably one around somewhere that you could see if you're not happy with what you're getting at a dermatologist's office.
Yeah. And when you said 10 to 15 minutes, I was like, wow, that's being generous. It's more like, I remember it was like 5 minutes there, when lucky. And so, yeah, definitely check this out. Check out what Mandy's doing with that. So, Mandy, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really, definitely appreciate you sharing your business wisdom and your journey and your story about your journey.
Well, thank you, Tom. And thank you for your book. I really enjoyed it. I think it struck many chords in me. And I appreciate you having me on the show today. It's lovely to be able to get the word out.
Yes, of course. Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in today and watching or listening to the show, depending on what platform you're on. We do appreciate it. So make sure you're checking out everything that Mandy is doing. We're going to put all the links down into the show notes, so you can just make that very easy to go and click and check out our website and see if you are a candidate for this type of treatment, which is really interesting, which I like. I go back to, I really like being bald myself. And show listeners, while you're down there checking out what Mandy's doing, if you see a review link down there, please give the show a rating and review. We really do appreciate it, and just help spread the word about the Heart-Led Business Show. And until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.